welcome. Welcome to the B2B Spotler webinar, our boosting B2B success at every stage and mastering lifecycle marketing. And my name's Richard. I work on the content marketing team here at Spotler, and with me is Kate Barrett, who's the CEO and founder of eFocus Marketing, who also they've teamed up with us to handle some of the extra strategic consultancy stuff that we do. So where a lot of our customers take the product, use it, go and do their own thing, that's fine. Some need a bit of guidance, a bit of expertise, a bit of coaching on how to get the best out of it, and that's where Kate and her team are coming in. So you'll be seeing a lot more of her over the coming months, and this webinar is going to give you a flavor of what that looks like. So for those of you who are new to Spotler, a warm welcome to you. We're a very big company. We're growing all the time. We serve about 10,000 marketers across the UK, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, Germany, all over the place. And that's about 4,000 companies, and we send over 18 billion messages over our lifetime. That's WhatsApp, that's SMS, that's email, that's chat. So we've got a lot. So that's the point of the life cycle thing, that we've got to handle on everything that feeds into your marketing life cycle, and with the technology and the experience and the platforms to do it all. So you'll have come to us from a whole variety of different places, and these are the 16. And I think since we wrote these slides, we actually added Red Eye to the group as well, so we're now up to 17 constituent elements, and they do email, they do data management, they do website and CDPs, and they do connections. That's what Buckles is, that sort of bringing all those different bits together through, frankly, witchcraft as far as I'm concerned. Momice is one of the more recent ones that covers events like this one, but you don't have to worry about memorizing all those product names, because as we drive towards one unified service and one suite, we've got a whole set of snazzy product names and labels. So some of those platforms merge in together. We take the best bits out of one and the other and mash them together into a new one. Some are rebrand and keep all the features. If you're a customer of any of those existing platforms, then our priority is always to keep the experience as good as you expect it, and then build and make it better through the additional connections and being able to link those platforms together better. And then, so to do that, beyond the platforms, we're really proud of the teams that we have behind it, whether that's first line support day to day, whether that's account management that kind of guide you through adding credits, doing how you're going to get the most of things, and then on to deliverability processes like Kate's team are going to be at, where that extra value add comes in, essentially, where you've got the platform, you know what you want to do with it, but then we can show you actually there's also this extra element that you might not even have thought, or you thought, oh, I wish I could do this, but because we've got that integrated product, everything, actually, yeah, you can do that, and this is how you do it, and we'll guide you through that process, so you're getting the most value out of that one relationship you have with us. And then the thing we're most proud of, we're obviously proud of the overall headline that we have. We're rated excellent on both Trustpilot and G2. But if you do take the time to go and look at those sites, what I hope you notice is that pretty much every single review mentions somebody by name, whether that is on the deliverability team, whether that is a consultant, whether it's first line support. So we're doing our best to build a really good reputation for the technology and the people behind it to make your marketing as easy as possible throughout the whole life cycle. And that's how that leads into what we're going to talk about today. And say we've gathered you here. We've got this as the B2B style. We're also doing a B2C version later this afternoon with Kate. Again, if you're a B2C person, or if you're a B2B person who wants to know what B2C people are thinking, very different ways of doing it. Well, more than welcome to both of those. Housekeeping wise, I've already rambled on for about 6 minutes. The entire presentation, I think, is about 40 to 45. And then we've blocked out the 20 minutes of the hour to do a Q&A. So you've already found the chat window, which is the 2 speech bubbles, or if you need to ask and mention anything going through. If you've got a question that you want to cover in the Q&A, if you can put it in the question box, which is a single speech bubble with a question mark inside it, The only practical difference it makes from our end is that it saves the question against the email address you registered with. So if there's so many questions we run out of time to answer them all, or if it's a really specific question to your situation that needs a follow-up answer, or if either Kate or I just don't know off the top of our heads, have to go away and go and find that answer out to answer it properly, then it's easier for us to tie it to the right person. The only other bit of housekeeping, we are recording this session. It'll be sent to the email address you registered with probably tomorrow afternoon. We say 24 hours, just give us time to upload it onto the website, make sure it looks neat. We'll trim off that bit where I did the audio test at the beginning, and then so we'll send that out to you as a download. If you're watching it live here on Tuesday morning, you'll also get a PDF of the slide deck to refer back to, which is really useful. If you're new to Spotler, then the Spotler events domain that we use for sending out follow-ups, your spam filter might not recognize it, so do have a look in your junk folder first off. If it's not in your inbox or your junk folder, it'll be available at spotler.co.uk/resources shortly after, just as a download to watch and hang on to. If there's anything else, then you've got a choice of email addresses. We obviously keep touch of both of them. Webinars at spotler.co.uk or marketing at spotler.co.uk, and myself or the other marketing team will get back to you with anything that we need to. So that is all the housekeeping bits. So I'm going to disappear, listen to Kate, and Kate, you can share your advice on the whole B2B life cycle.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Rich. And if anyone doesn't know and hasn't seen it, go on to Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and find Email and Beyond. And you'll find Rich and myself as co-hosts talking you through lots of different topics. We've actually just started recording season 2. So look out for that coming soon and you'll be able to hear more from both of us. So my name is Kate Barrett. I am the founder and CEO of eFocus Marketing, and we are a specialist marketing agency helping brands like yourself to create intelligent email marketing that gets results. Now, over my career, I've worked with a whole range of brands, and through eFocus Marketing to some of the brands that you can see on the screen. So from entrepreneurs just getting started all the way through to big name brands, both B2B and B2C marketing campaigns. So understanding the intricacies of each and how to use those strategies and tactics for each different type of client, industry, service, products. There is a way to make it work for you. I'm also the author of the best-selling book, Intelligence, Email Marketing Isn't Dead, the Way You're Using It Is. So we're going to take one of the elements of the book today and talk about it. So what are we going to go through? Well, first and foremost, we're all going to get really clear on the 5 stages of the customer journey, that life cycle that a customer is going to go through with you. And we're going to talk about how you can be helpful and add value to your subscribers at each stage. And of course, we're going to give you examples and I'm going to give you priority campaigns to implement along the way at each stage as well. So why is it important? Why should we be thinking in terms of this journey? And excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold, so I might have a little cough or a little drink along the way to soothe my throat. It's really important that we don't overwhelm subscribers, particularly that we don't overwhelm them with irrelevant information. Anyone that we're sending these emails out to, we want to make sure that we help them, inspire them, guide them, support them, make it easy for them to take the action that we want them to, that we nurture them, value them, and recognize them. Now, to do that, we have to understand them. We have to really start to get into the data that we hold and understand what our customers, what our prospects want from us. But the issue is with humans, what people say, what people do, what people say they do, and what they actually do are often entirely different things. So we need to use multiple sources of data that we will have within our business to help us figure out is it that they actually want right now? What are they looking for? How can we help them? How can we nurture them through to the next stage of their journey with us? Now, that data can come in many different forms, but in terms of your internal information, you're going to be focusing in on that zero-party data, which is information that you know about your subscribers. So this might have been information they've given you on sign-up forms, for example. Could be preferences that they've stated. It's that individual level information that you know about somebody. And then you've got first party data. So this is about activity and what they're doing with your business, whether that's email engagement, website activity, purchase history. You can use all of these elements to make that picture and make your communications really stand out at each stage of that journey and life cycle and really connect with your audience. Because when we don't use this data, when we don't account for messages at different stages of that journey, for different needs, different preferences, different interests and wants and desires, we get frustrated subscribers, frustrated customers and prospects, and frustrated customers and prospects don't buy. So we need to make sure that we stop that frustration, and particularly with B2B, where your life cycle journeys are often a lot longer than the B2C, D2C kind of communications that are going on. You have to make sure that you're really standing out in their minds, that you're building your authority with them, that you're educating them, supporting them, helping them, all of those elements. 32% of people didn't like it and got frustrated when messages didn't recognize their shopping or loyalty history, what they've done with you before. Now, this could be what they've actually purchased from your business before, or it could be activity that they've done before, maybe downloads that they've got from your website, maybe events that they've been to. So all of these elements, and not recognizing them, are going to cause frustration. Receiving irrelevant content or offers, 49% said that frustrated them. 41% said messages that didn't reflect their wants and needs frustrated them. So let's get away from this and let's really start to consider the data that you have within your business about your subscribers. Doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. Really think about what would help you to understand your customers better. Now, when you do this, what's fantastic is that you can move up the maturity model in terms of your strategy. So Spotler have a great model that takes you from that very first step of your journey as a broadcaster, where you're maximizing that outreach. You're really emphasizing lead generation, nurturing website traffic, getting that audience going, and potentially, probably, same message out to everybody. We want to move you up from that to the next stage of the Spotler maturity model, which is the segmenter. This is where you're starting to deliver those tailored, focused campaigns to segments based on their interests, based on engagement data, all of that information that you know about them, that first party and zero party data. You want to really start to focus on what's important for your audience. Who are those main segments? What are the messages that are going to connect with them? Potentially you're starting a little bit of automation here and getting those right messages to the right people at the right times. And as you start to grow these strategies and you get much better at the automation and the segmentation, that personalization, you're moving to that recommender stage. So you're starting to perhaps get to one-to-one content recommendations, product recommendations, service recommendations, whatever they might be. Building that automation around the customer lifecycle, which is what we're going to be talking all about today, and really building your strategy to get more personalized, more engaged, till you move up to the predictor. Now, this is really where you're implementing those targeted, personalized campaigns based on the life cycle, based on engagement, behavioral data, and starting to make predictions about what your audience might want to do. Now, this is the nirvana. This is where we want to get to, but we have to go through these stages. If you're currently a broadcaster, you're not going to jump straight to the predictor. Let's work on getting you to the segmenter and then the recommender and onwards. Because the campaigns and what you're going to focus on at each stage will differ. So as you move up the funnel, you're really going from implementing starting point campaigns to optimizing what's happening with those campaigns and around the journey, and then on to increasing that marketing revenue. So you're going to go through stages. You might add in different marketing channels as you move up the stages. Perhaps as a broadcaster, you're just looking at email, whereas a segmenter, recommender, and upwards, you're starting to bring in social, WhatsApp, SMS, whatever those channels might be for you, and having more of an integrated approach. So this model works not just for email, but also those other marketing channels that you're looking at. So we want to get you moving up that ladder. Now, what you need to do is start to think about wherever you are, whatever stage you're at, that is absolutely fine. So we've got the maturity model on the left-hand side of the screen that you can see here. Now, what we want to do is add in our life cycle. At each stage of the life cycle, I'm going to talk you through this in more detail as we move through. But at each stage of the life cycle, what are your focus campaigns? What are your focus elements? Is it website elements? Is it those omni-channel approach elements with SMS, WhatsApp, social? Is it your automated campaigns, your segmentation, your personalization in your email marketing? What are those primary focus campaigns? And that is going to start to build you up through the maturity model. And most importantly, as you move through the maturity model and you focus on these different elements of the life cycle, you build up that nurturing communication across stages that is personalized and targeted. So I'm going to show you at the end of the session how this starts to build up and takes that omni-channel approach. But for now, let's focus in on those 5 stages of the customer life cycle. So here they are. Now, the eagle-eyed view will notice that this is slightly different from the slides that I just showed you with the maturity model on. The last 2 sections, win back and loyalty, are condensed into that kind of conversion element. So that's absolutely fine. We're going to extend it out here to 5 stages to really give you a dive into it. So at the very first stage on the left-hand side, we've got acquisition. So this is understanding what are people searching for? How can you get their attention with your marketing? So whether that's content that you're creating, how you introduce your brand, how you capture their attention, that's your acquisition stage. Then we move to consideration, where they know about you, but they don't necessarily know that they want or need your product and service, and we're building that information so that they can then go through to consider what it is that they might like to purchase from you or convert with you. Then we have purchase or conversion and experience. So this is making that experience as smooth, enjoyable, connected as possible. Support your customer services teams, help the customer. So if you are SaaS software, for example, you want to be leading that experience post-conversion, post-purchase. How do they use the platform? Encouraging them into different elements. If they've bought a product from you, this could be around how to make the most of that product, for example. So experience here alongside those transactional emails, but the experience is where you're going to win. Then we move down into loyalty, advocacy, and retention. So what is going to keep them coming back? What is going to get them talking about you, recommending you? So all of those elements of your communication. And then inevitably, we have win back. So how do you encourage them back again, either to buy or to actually engage with your email marketing in this case, for example? So when we're thinking about each of these stages, one of the easiest ways for us to account for the different stages is through automated email campaigns. And of course, you can integrate those with WhatsApp, SMS, social, all of those omni-channel elements. But focusing in on those email automations is going to give you that solid base. You've got the most data coming into the email channel, that 0 and first-party data that you can use to personalize, segment, and in this case, automate those campaigns. And B2B marketers using that marketing automation increase their sales pipeline contribution by an average of 10%. And 59% of B2B marketers cite email as their top channel for revenue generation. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through each of the 5 stages, and I'm going to give you some examples at each stage to inspire you as to what you could create in your business. But I want you to remember some of these life cycle stages might slightly differ for you in terms of the areas of your business perhaps that you're responsible for, what's relevant for your organization, whether you have purchase data coming in or not. Of course, that will have an impact on where you can go with your journey, and of course, whether or not you're doing cold outreach. So that's the very first element that we are going to start with. So this is the acquisition stage. People don't know about you. Look, cold outreach, it's something as B2B businesses that we probably have to do, right? Let's just lay it on the line. It's not necessarily our favorite thing in the world, and it's certainly not something that is going to get you miraculous, sky-high rocketing results. But what it probably does is give you that continuous lead base into your business. So if you're using cold outreach, the key thing, of course, firstly is your data quality, making sure you've got good quality data. But within that, your targeting is absolutely critical. The better targeted your data, the better results you're going to get from your cold outreach. But of course, they're still going to be limited. But what I want to give you here is an example of actually a blog post written by the lovely Rich that is featured on the eFocus Marketing website. So there's a QR code there, and when you get the slides, you'll be able to click that link to go and check out the blog, but it's on the eFocus Marketing website. So what Rich was telling us about was actually Spotler's outreach for this cold net new nurture. Now, with that targeting, one of the key things is using the Spotler platform and being able to identify leads who are coming onto your website. So with that obviously gives you a starting point permission basis, and obviously you look at GDPR and legitimate interest, but it's that great starting point to take people who've already shown that slightest bit of interest and use them in that outreach. So it's kind of more like warm outreach, right? Not completely cold in that case, but that's a great way to use targeting. When it's completely cold, use that data that you know about your audience. Now, the key thing with cold email outreach is it's not one and done. You're going to get a much greater proportion of results from first couple of emails, I'd say, and Richie expands on this within the blog as well, but also as you get into that series. So a lot of the time with B2B, we're seeing those communications coming back on the 6th to 12th outreach. So have a look at that series. You may not be wanting to go to 12, and of course that includes other touch points like your website. Being able to track that is ideal if you're B2B, but building up those messages, not repeating the same thing in each message. So I've seen companies before where it's literally the same point being hammered in every single message and it's just repeated. Build on that. If we haven't caught their attention in the previous email, what's that next email that we need to go to? What's that next point that we want to get through to them? So build up that series of emails and check out that blog where you can see the results of that process as well. Now, in acquisition, of course, when we get people onto our website, and you're probably doing a lot of marketing through other channels to do that and drive traffic, we want to make the most of that traffic. So tracking and having that access to the Spotler platform where you can find those people and message them when they've been onto your website is a great start point, but we want to try and get them onto an opted-in email list. So the best way to do that is with your email sign-up process. And when it comes to B2B, depending on what it is that you're offering and where they are in that funnel towards conversion, so going from acquisition through to consideration, how close are they to that point of conversion, you may want to have slightly different forms. So the first form that you might want to have is a shorter form where you might have it on your blog page, for example, and then you link, you get their first name, their email address, maybe their company name, for example, maybe that zero party data, first point of interest. Which sections are you interested in? What categories are you interested in? So you can see an example of that at the bottom of the screen there, where they've got those tick boxes for what would you like to receive? What's your interest? So that's your first point. So that very much is people in that early consideration stage, just coming through acquisition, probably don't know a lot about your business. You want to nurture them, educate them, build that authority with them. Now, in some cases, if you feel that what you're offering is further down that funnel and it's something that they might want to download when they're closer to the point of conversion, or if you want to use it as that lead generation source, you may have that slightly longer form where you're asking for a little bit more information. So again, building on that zero party data. Now, what you'll find is the more questions, the more fields you ask them to fill in on these forms, the less people you'll get completing it. But the people who do complete it will be more highly qualified in the terms of what you know about them. So it's a decision that you need to make depending on what it is that you're offering, where it is on your website perhaps, but those are your options when it comes to that email sign up process. So once you've caught people's attention, and you may well do that through a free offering alongside the email sign up. So you can see the examples here with a cheat sheet, a guide, that download. It might be if you offer a B2B product, it might be a percentage off service, it might be a free trial. You can link all of this in and get that email sign up as well. Now, if the form is part of another process, like an account sign up, or if it's a contact form, then of course under GDPR, you need that positive checked opt-in to communicate them as well. So you've got that positive opt-in or legitimate interest as your options. And of course, B2B slightly differs in terms of that cold outreach. So have a look at that as well. Once you've got through that, and once you've got that email sign up, it's a really critical part of the process. You then go through to emails. Now, we want to make a great first impression, and this starts with your welcome email. So you can see just a few examples here on the screen. Now, for me, what makes a great welcome email is something that helps them start to move through the process with you. It confirms the benefits that they're going to get on subscribing, and exactly like the example you can see in the middle of the screen there, it tells you what happens next. What should you do next? Yeah, all of these examples give you that. On the left from Indeed, we've got look at the next steps, like a checklist, and the same for N-Co on the right as well, kind of gamifying that with the coloured icons when you've completed that step. What is it that you want them to do next? So after they've signed up, for example, it could be to, like Indeed, they kind of have it as this conversion point where you would first off upload your resume. So you sign up, you then upload your resume. So they're pushing you to the next step. Now, depending on what your business is, this will differ, but tell them what happens next. Give them their next step. So whether it's telling them what to do next with your system, your product, your service, or whether it's explore the benefits of this, explore our content, building authority and education. But what we want to do now is think about going, because we've got a lot of information here, a long way further than this welcome email. So again, we're going to build up a series. Now, this is a B2C example, but it's a great example of building up that information. So of course, you would just differ the information for you. So here they're calling out all of the key points that make eBay so great. So going from email 1, then they're going to categories, then they're going to the app. So they're highlighting these different elements. And at the top of the email, you can see they're moving you through. They're telling you, we're going to give you 6 steps to success with eBay effectively. Have a look at what we have to offer. They're also reinforcing that great service you deserve at the bottom of the email, but the focus builds on a slightly different element. And they go through this series of 6 emails in the same way. So can you offer your audience? Do you have a blog area that you want to highlight? Do you have webinars that they can sign up for? You can highlight those potentially in the same email, potentially in different emails. Test it. Do you have an app? You know, what is it that you have that they can go and explore, that you can help them, inspire them? All those words we saw at the beginning. This is critical as we go now from acquisition, and the welcome email and the welcome series then flows into that consideration stage. You're building up that information so they can start to decide, do they want to use you or don't you? So some of you may not have a welcome email at all and just put people straight into your series. Some may have a welcome email. Some may have a full welcome series. Whatever level you're at, whatever stage of maturity with these campaigns at this stage of the life cycle, build on where you are. So as we move into consideration, we've got that welcome series coming through, and then we're looking at those abandoned cart or abandoned form emails. Now, of course, you may be a product-based B2B business, and that's where you may have an abandoned cart, or it may be abandoned form or a demo form or a contact form, whatever that might be. And of course, again, with the Spotler platforms, you can see who's been on your website, and if they're registered for your email in this instance, you could send them an abandoned browse series. So here on your screen, we've got a few examples of how that could look. Now, it may not have to be as obvious as we noticed you were looking at this. It may just be following up with that relevant content based on the blogs that they've just looked at, the information that they've just looked at. If you have a platform, for example, let's use Spotler, there's lots of different uses and different elements of the platform that you might be interested in. Depending what you've then browsed on the website, that could follow up with that relevant information. Help them, nurture them, keep moving them to the next step. Our eternal need and our eternal want as marketers is for them to move to the next stage, from acquisition to consideration. And then from consideration, we want to move them to that next stage of purchase and experience. So we want to help them do that. So depending on what you offer will depend on what content you would put into this stage. But here's some example of kind of giving that authority, education, bringing in those pieces of information relevant to what they need or want. That is the absolute key. But even if you're at that starting point stage of your maturity cycle, and you start with something that's got the same content for everybody, it's better than nothing. It's a starting point, gives you a baseline. Then you can look at your segmentation, break it down. Then you can look at your one-to-one personalization, break it down. So there are so many options for you at each stage. And we want to keep driving people forward. So at the purchase and experience phase, as we said, we want to not only confirm that purchase or that conversion, but we want to help them with that. So another example here from Indeed. So we're using the upload of the resume here as a conversion point. And then you can see there's 3 emails, and the one on the right is just a zoomed in version of the third one. 3 emails that take them through the key pieces of information that they need to know next. What do they need to do? This is going to help them. It's going to help them not only just upload their resume, but actually get a job from it, because that's the end result. So we're helping them step by step along the way. Now, of course, this could also be driving them through to that loyalty stage. And if you get that conversion or purchase and experience right, it's going to make this loyalty stage much easier. So here we're driving them from that first purchase or first conversion, depending on what it is that you're classing in the last stage. We want to drive them to the next purchase or conversion. We want to engage their loyalty when we're doing that. Now, that could be through downloading an app, if you've got one, for example. It could be that kind of gamification and reiterating their information and their data back to them. But we want to encourage them. So these are 2 great ways to do it. What is it that you can pick out? Now, a lot of you, and I've done teaching for B2B companies for a long time now, and you kind of say, okay, but my life cycle is really long. You know, they don't have to renew for 3 years, let's say, for example. Well, let's say if you've got a platform, again, use the data about what they're doing on the platform to help them, encourage them along the way. educate them, nurture them, give them blog articles, help them improve their knowledge. If you are, it really depends on your business, your audience. You know, if you were insurance, let's say, and it renews every year, let's say your business insurance, well, you want to make sure that you stay front of mind. So it might be that you send that regular newsletter, again, that helps, inspires. Think about the audience that you're sending it to. Who is it within that organization that is taking out that insurance? And what do they need in their role, in their job, that you can help them with and inspire them? So think about the content for you, regardless of your industry. What do your audience want and need? And inevitably, there will be that stage of win back. So here we're looking at subscriber reactivation with email campaigns. If they're not opening or clicking on those emails anymore, you can do slightly different reactivations for each if you're at that more advanced stage. Or customer reactivation. So they haven't bought from you or converted again within a certain period of time. Perhaps they didn't renew, perhaps they didn't buy another product for you in a certain period of time. So we want to be driving them through, pick up on that key piece of data, tell them what they've missed, tell them what they could be exploring, what's new with your business since they last interacted, depending on the activity. And do they still want to receive emails from you? That could be that end point where you're trying to gauge that interest. Allow them to update their preferences. So here we're trying to drive them back. We're doing something different that they don't usually get. We're driving them. That might be a special offer even. So we want to drive them back through. Now, at whatever stage of the customer journey, the customer life cycle, you've got a multitude of campaigns, depending on your data, that you could potentially implement. So around each stage, think about building something out like this, where you list down the types of campaigns that you've got in place or that you want to put in place and connect that to your zero and first party data. Of course, at the consideration and loyalty stages, whether they've purchased or not from you, you will also have those manual campaigns that are going out that will support these automations and drive further engagement. So whatever stage of the journey you're at, whatever stage of the maturity cycle you're at, pick your next point in the journey. And in some cases, that will involve adding that multi-channel approach. So really consider that journey. Now I'm going to reveal where we had the post-it notes on the previous slide with the maturity model. This is what it could look like for you. Here are just some examples of a few campaigns across different channels here in this case. You'll see some email examples dotted in there, and you can really build on that. But at each stage, the types of elements that you could be looking at to build on where you are in that maturity model, build on the campaigns that you've got in that life cycle. And here retention is that loyalty and that win back stage. Build on those, get customized, targeted, personalized emails that really engage your audience. Generate your intelligence. So that's it from me today. We'd love to take any questions, and Rich, I'll kind of divert to you to see if any questions have come in whilst I've been talking. And whilst we're looking at that, I just want to pop up something really special on your screen. And because you stay to the end of the webinar, we've got a fantastic chance for you to enter to win strategic consultancy with Spotler and eFocus Marketing. So we are offering 3 fantastic top prizes, with your first prize being a 1-day workshop with myself, either online or in person at the Spotler offices. We will dig into an element of email marketing that is important to you. We could work on your life cycle. We could work on your sign-up process. We could work on your welcome program or specific campaigns. We could look at your data and what's really important to you. This is a fantastic prize. As second and third prize, we've got an email marketing strategic mini audit, which is going to give you a really good baseline as to where you are now and those elements to focus on going forward within your strategy. And for 5 lucky runners up, we've got a copy of my best-selling book, Intelligence, Email Marketing Isn't Dead, the way you're using it is. So you've got the QR code on the screen, you've also got the link there. Go and get entered, get yourself in the prize draw. We're going to be closing entries at the end of September, and hopefully I'll see one of you on a one-day workshop and speak to two more of you on the phone when we deliver your strategic mini audit. Rich, have we had any questions come in?
Fabulous, Red. Yes, had a couple. First up
Excellent.
what metrics or indicators should B2B marketers track to measure the success of lifecycle marketing efforts?
Really great question. So you've got your obviously individual campaign KPIs. Open rate, take with a pinch of salt. Look at it, but move on. We want to be looking at click rate. We want to be looking at what they're doing on the website afterwards. What is their journey? And then connecting that into the automations. So you want your website metrics, you want your click rate, clicks at open rate, a little bit, but as we all know, open rate is a little bit of a difficult metric nowadays. So click rate, and what happens afterwards are your core KPIs. Now, the key thing about lifecycle marketing is we've talked about having a series of emails. So let's take the starting point. Let's take a welcome email series, for example. You'll generally see a trend in a series where results will slightly dip from the beginning to the end of the series. And that's completely natural, completely normal. But what you're looking for is significant changes in those KPIs. So if you see that email 3 has a significantly lower open rate, but click rate particularly, you want to be looking at, is that the right content? Is it in the right place in the series? So look at your KPIs across the series as well as individual emails.
Nice. And then next we've got May. You mentioned briefly a difference in B2C and B2B GDPR. Are there different rules for GDPR depending on your business and legitimate interest?
Yes, please seek legal advice. Obviously, you can have a look at GDPR, but GDPR is a data law. It's not really a marketing law. So what you need to be looking at if you're in the UK, I don't know what country you're in, but in the UK, it's PECA, the Privacy and Electronic Communications Regulations. So have a look at those, and that will explain all of the different ins and outs of what GDPR called legitimate interest is called something slightly different under PECA, but effectively, if you gain an email address in the course of or negotiation of a sale, you can email them with relevant information. So have a look at PECA and go from there. But if you're in a different country, have a look at your country's marketing laws. GDPR is a data law, not a marketing law.
Right. Okay. And unless anyone's got a late entry, that is all the questions we've got in so far. So that was obviously a completely comprehensive overview, and everyone's fully understood it and excited to go back and build their email series and get on with putting the advice into practice. So
Hopefully. I mean, honestly, this is, Rich, you and I have talked about it on the podcast on email and beyond. It's so critical to everything that you're doing, understanding where somebody is in that journey, tailoring those communications as much as you can. That's what's going to get you results. Sending more email in terms of kind of those manual campaigns. Yeah, you'll probably get some results from them, but it's bloody hard work, isn't it?
yeah.
It's really hard work, and it can be, so hit and miss. So spend your time building wherever you are on that maturity model, whether you're just starting and putting individual campaigns in place, or whether you're at the other end of the scale and you're starting to use predictive modeling and you're doing, A/B tests or multivariate tests. Wherever you are, build on that and really make sure that you've got this customer journey, this customer life cycle nailed, because that's where the gold is. That is where you're really going to get those results going forward.
Brilliant. Okay, so Kate, thank you very much for sharing your B2B wisdom. Everyone on the call, thank you very much for joining. I hope it was useful. And as we said at the beginning, look out for the recording and the slide deck in your inbox tomorrow. I hope that's given you plenty to think about, to be inspired by, to go and put into practice. And then, yeah, so if you're already in the Spotler platform and looking to do those things that Kate's talked about, your account manager is your best next port of call. If you're not using Spotler yet and you want to be, and you really should be, then spotler.co.uk/demo. Just as Kate said, it's a very short form because we want to make things easy for you and bring you into that cycle straight away. And then we'll get in touch with you as soon as we can, understand what it is you need and what you're after, and we'll go from there. So
Perfect. And don't forget to enter the competition and check out the Email and Beyond podcast as well. And you'll hear more from Rich and I.
absolutely. All right. Enjoy your Tuesdays, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.